I'm very emotionally in tune. I think I'm more emotionally in tune than I should be because like I need to be more logical sometimes.
Do you make decisions based on your emotions?
Oh my God, all the time. In my heart, I hear the voice that's saved the lives. Chester has saved a lot of lives by singing. Love is the greatest teacher. But it's kind of like a reminder, and I came here to love. So I used to be a people's pleaser to where I would put myself in situations where I would be unhappy because I felt like it was the right thing to do. And then I realized it was actually unauthentic. I've gotten in trouble actually before because I used to work at a bar as a bartender. And I actually, brought one inside. And I was like, I'm buying her a shot. It's her birthday. I can gain knowledge from literally anyone. I can gain knowledge from someone that's like a millionaire, and I can gain knowledge from someone that's just on the street.
Sublime Podcast.
Next episode of Sublime Podcast, and I have someone very unusual today for the story of her and for her interesting transitions between different careers. And we're going to talk about things which might be quite surprising.
Okay. Thank you for having me here.
Of course, yeah. I have Ashley Abbott with me, who is known now as a singer, but also she's a medical professional, and she has very, very interesting story of her life, and that's what we're going to go about. But before we start, did you know that there was power outage
Today? Like
here? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's like when I messaged you, this is when the power went on, and like I was on the phone with PG&E, and I'm like, well,
Oh,
like
my
guys,
goodness.
like listen, I, you need to fix it. You need to fix it. They're like, well, yes, we are on it. We are on it. I'm like, well, no, you don't understand. I have a podcast with Ashley,
Oh my.
and they're like, well, Ashley what?
No, Ashley what? Ashley who?
I'm like, Ashley Abbott. And they literally, someone just pushes the button as I'm with
Wow.
them, and the power goes on. So
Well, I just want to say thank you to PG&E. Shout out to PG&E for making it all happen.
this episode is not sponsored by PG&E, but PG&E, we have no choice, unfortunately, so we are stuck with you.
PG&E, you have definitely outdone yourself.
Cool. Right, so let's go. All right, so you got a degree in pharmacy, right?
I actually do not. So I did go to pharmacy tech school to get licensed in pharmacy tech. Unfortunately, I did not finish because I did think that it wasn't for me. I was really young. I was like 23 at the time. And I just was like, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life.
Which was 2 years ago.
No, actually, my age is reverse. I'm 32. So I was 23 10
No
years
way.
ago.
No way.
Yeah.
I would never believe.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I realized that it wasn't something I want to do, but ironically, my role before the role that I'm in now was in the pharmacy. So that's kind of an ironic thing, but not as a pharmacy tech. It's more like admin, healthcare.
Very cool. That didn't really stop you from going into medical field, into healthcare. So I guess that's why the degree, even though you could have stayed for a bit longer, it's still relevant to what you're doing.
Right. I mean, I still learned some stuff. It made it easier. For sure, it helped me because with the job that I have now, I know the medical terms, and so that makes it easier for the people that hired me, like to make the decision. Because it's like, okay, well, she doesn't have a degree or a license, but she has the background. She has some background. She has some experience, right? And then also, I used to work at a biomed lab called Natera. I was a sessioner there, but because of the fact that I just know the terminologies and same thing, So I've not my whole life I was in healthcare admin, but a good chunk of my career was healthcare admin.
I think one takeaway that I wanted to highlight here is that you don't really have to have this full 10 or 12 years of education in healthcare to work in healthcare, because there is a lot of other things you can do, even if you don't need access to actual
if you don't have a degree, definitely you need the experience, and you just have to start off in companies that will take people without a degree, but then you would start off in admin roles, receptionist, just anything that will get your foot in just to like learn like just the terminologies and just kind of like how it all works, and then I think that's how healthcare companies will get comfortable with taking you in without a degree. But I can't say that it takes experience, right? Because again, they took me at once upon a time without experience, so it's all about just kind of like putting in everything that you know and just like your good work ethics into what you can.
Yeah, someone needs to take a flyer on you.
Right. Someone has to believe in you, right?
Yeah. Usually it's your grandma.
Right. Shout out to grandmas.
Yeah, they are awesome. I wish we had more of them.
Right.
But as soon as you have your foot in the door, like pretty much in any organization, and I think in any industry, if someone can vouch for your experience, then more doors are opening.
Right.
Great. Okay, so when you got into healthcare, and you said it was the medical data, like
the very first role I was like an accession nurse. So yeah, I would say it was kind of like entering data and just kind of like scanning the barcodes. Very simple, very I would say minimum wage, but hey, it's your footway to kind of like learn, right? So
I think we have AI now for that.
Huh?
We have AI now for that.
Right. Oh,
but then
AI.
the thing with healthcare is that the technology is maybe 10 years behind. So until AI actually starts using AI, they need to get so many approvals from CDC and all the other federal and local instances for them to actually start using the technology and get it to the point where they will be replacing people. I think people will stay in healthcare the longest with the AI attacking all the job market.
You have to remember too, with like healthcare, when people are sick, it's like, yeah, you can have like AI and all this like technology and generated stuff to help with healthcare. But when it comes down to it, you need like people like with a heart, people with like raw emotions that
Emotional intelligence, yes.
Yeah, people that really understand kind of like, what you're going through. That's what you really need in healthcare. Regardless if you're a nurse, regardless if you're a doctor, or if you're just someone in guest services, or just someone that's just at the door saying, I shouldn't say just, someone at the door greeting people that, need the healthcare help. You need people that are compassionate, empathetic. You can't AI generate that, right? You need that. You need someone with a heart. You need a human. So I do think that in healthcare, we're going to forever need humans.
Yeah, I think the job of like psychotherapists will go last.
Oh my goodness, right.
Like imagine someone does psychotherapy and that's AI talking to you. Maybe ChatGPT can do that now. If you have any good experience doing psychotherapy through ChatGPT, let us know in the comments. Yeah, cool. All right. So my question was, so when you are working in healthcare, and even if it's maybe like entry-level job where you just type in the data, or you work with like paperwork on the paperwork side, like in this like back office, or you are actually working with patients, right? Listening to, as you mentioned, showing your emotional intelligence and trying to show care. I think that's what majority of people actually are looking for when they are coming to see a doctor. Like, what kind of vibe is that? Like, do you feel like it's maybe its own world and it's a bit of a bubble? How far it is safe?
I mean, for like me, I've always been in the admin world, right? Where I don't really see patients as much. But even just with me being in the back office and being in the admin world, it's always something different, for like, even though I don't deal with the patients, I can just, like you said, it's a vibe that you can just feel, and it's either really crazy and there's like a surge that's happening, or it's really just it's calm and everything's just like under control. Not that things get out of control, but it happens, right? Like, for God forbid, COVID, right? So it's always something different. It's unpredictable at times, but I love it because you just know that you're helping people, regardless if I'm doing something as small as admin work, or every role makes an impact in healthcare. So, and it just feels good knowing that I'm helping people out there.
Yeah, I think regardless of whether you are a janitor or you are a surgeon, right? You can maybe impact somebody's like survival rate.
I'm being a support of
Exactly.
people that are helping people.
Yeah, being support of people
Yeah.
who are supporting.
And that's what it's about. It's
Right.
about supporting
Yeah,
each other.
exactly. Beautiful. I love it. Talk a bit more about your time in New York, New Jersey area. Like
Oh,
you've
okay.
been, yeah.
So I can just give you the whole spiel
Yeah,
from
sure.
when I was born. So I was born in Monterey Bay, California. And then I think I was about 5 months old when my dad got stationed back to Watertown, New York, because my dad was in the military. So we moved to Watertown, New York, and I was there until I was about somewhere between like toddler. It was a very young age. And then, we came back to California, and every summer I would go visit my family in New Jersey. So in Lodi, New Jersey specifically. So North New Jersey, shout out to Jersey. So I would go there every summer. And then every time I was in school, I was back in Cali. So I was back and forth a lot. And I was doing that up until I was about like 16. And then I stopped. And then I because my mom ended up moving to Jersey. And then I just decided to move out there too when I was about, I want to say 24. I was like 24, 25, something like that. And then I stayed out there until 2019, somewhere around there. And then I came back. Yeah. So it's very back and forth, but I love both sides of the coast. I love, like, everyone asks me, what do you like better, west side, east side? I can't decide because it's so different. Like,
Sure.
yeah, they're both so different. Cali's known for the weather, like the great food, and like New York's just known for like that fast pace, all the crazy opportunities out there. And I just can't decide.
Yeah. Like it's, I would say much faster and much more busier spot.
And I actually miss that about like being in North New Jersey / New York. I miss like the super fast paced busy because like you said, when I came in, you're like, for a Friday, you have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And and that's just me.
That's how East Coast people feel.
And that's just me. Like I'm always looking for something to do. Like I'm always like up doing something, like, which, in West Coast, it's like it's more chill, everyone's more relaxed, which I love doing that too. I love relaxing as well. But I don't know what it is. I'm always looking for something to do.
Yeah, I love it. Sure. And I'm glad that you found energy to stop by. It is 6:24 and it's Friday of a long week, a very intense week. Okay, so back to your New Jersey, New York. So it wasn't your conscious choice, right? So you just had to kind of be bi-coastal.
I mean, half yes and no. Well, yeah, when I was a kid, for sure, it wasn't my choice. Yeah, no. I mean, they threw me on the airplane and they like got me an escort. Like my parents, they would have me have an escort when I was young, and so I would ride on the plane alone with someone escorting me. And you know how you can get those. Like you can buy an escort for the kids that are underage. So I would have those when I would go to the East Coast. So I was used to that. To me, like that was normal. And then like, when I got older and I realized like a lot of people don't travel, I'm like, what? Like I was so used to like being a kid and just having like these special services of like someone escorting me like on the plane. I don't know how much it costs. It's probably like $100, but
it's like a kind of bodyguard feeling.
Kind of like a bodyguard, right? That's what it felt like when I was a kid.
Who is the stalker, who's like...
Yeah, no, they were just, but it's like they would walk you from gate to gate, or walk you to the gate and into the airplane and stuff, just because you're a kid, right? So they just want to make sure nothing's going to happen to you. So I was used to that. I was just...
Yeah, I think what I learned about Western world is, like this country specifically, like minors are being treated extremely seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, well, apparently there's whole market, for like kidnapping.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why, like, legally you have to have an adult until you turn 18. And there is a special, like, section of, like, labor law for minors. You have to involve not just your parents, but also your school. Your school needs to give permission.
Yeah, there has to be, like, you have to have, like, permission to pick up the kids, like if you're not the parent.
If you're not the parent, it needs to have like some legal reason. So minors are being treated very seriously in this country, and that's for good. This bi-coastal life, was it opening more opportunities for you, or was it kind of messing with your ability to get?
Here's the thing. I feel like I was in the East Coast at the wrong time. I feel like right now would have been the right time for me to go over there because I'm super like I want to just go all in with everything I'm doing, right? I have that will, have that drive. I know that about me. When I first went there, I was still kind of like young-minded. Like I still wanted to party and hang out. And I think California is a perfect place for it. You know what I mean? Because
For hanging out, but also I spent a substantial amount of time living in Boston, right? And Boston is also a very fast-paced,
Yeah.
very vibrant, and very young city.
Yeah.
Because of all the colleges there. There's so many parties going on, right?
Right.
So it's just everything shuts down at 2, so you go to somebody's house. You know?
So like, but what I'm saying is like, I just remembered when I was in the East Coast, I missed how, like, you know, my friends were. And I'm not saying that I didn't like my friends in the East Coast. I love them, but their lifestyle was just so different compared to like my friends here, and I was just so accustomed to it. At that, I was like, oh, I miss everyone in Cali. You know, like I kind of miss like, you know, how we would all hang out and stuff. And then, and now I still love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but it's slow pace here when it comes to like the things that I want to do now, which when I was out there, that was offered to me. And what I wanted was out here. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that like California doesn't have a lot to offer when it comes to what I want to do, right? Look, I'm here with you right now. But it's just, you see how New York is. It's a concrete jungle for what, right? So like that's just one thing where I feel like I didn't take advantage of when I was out there. But again, I didn't know much, right? I barely learned how to record a song when I was out there. So
I think actually East Coast would be maybe more intense in terms of like getting things done.
You think so?
Because of the weather doesn't really allow you to chill much outside, right? So when the winter comes in, it's quite severe. You don't want to put your nose
you
out.
know, I hated the snow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's the reason why I moved as well.
That's why I moved.
But if you are a performer and an artist, and we'll transition into this,
Right.
then the California would be that place, right? So
If you go to LA, for sure. I think LA is like good for that. As I've been told many times.
you've been to LA though, right?
Oh yeah. I go out and I visit. I actually met up with an artist not too long ago to record something. So I might be coming out with that soon. I just have to make my way back out there.
Yeah, I think when, I'm not saying if, I'm saying when your singing career gains enough momentum, then there will be a transition. Like you will need to maybe sign like a deal with a production company, and they will be dealing with distributing your IP, your works, and all of them are usually there.
Right.
You see, so you will have to just be closer to them, so you can come to the studio more often and do exactly what they tell you. So this is an exciting stage in maybe in majority of singers' lives, because that's where the money starts to flow in, and that's like substantial amount of money.
Right.
But also you have to give up a bit of creativity, because there are people who tell you, hey, write about this stuff.
Right.
Don't use this kind of slang. You see, write this kind of music and so on, because they know what works and what doesn't.
Right.
Right. But luckily to us here in South Bay, in Bay Area, you are not there yet. You are moving there, but you're not there yet. So we can have you here to see how you are starting out and how you're progressing. That's why you can do pretty much anything you want with your lyrics, with your music, with your art, and be yourself. Your fashion modeling experience.
Okay.
So you are known for being a model and also a makeup artist. And you also worked with quite a bit of people in the industry. For example, like Abbott, who I had my podcast, I think 2 episodes ago.
Oh, she's great. She's awesome. She's sweet. I love her.
Yeah. So yet, what motivated you to go into this kind of very, I would say, orthogonal, very unrelated to healthcare industry?
It's interesting because like I was actually really young when I first got into modeling. I would say I was like 20. And I can remember the very first time I did it, actually. I was like in high school and I had this friend and he was very new at being a photographer as well. And he was like, oh my God, you have the face, you have this and this and that. Like, can I just practice on you? I'm like, okay, sure. I don't know what I'm doing, but why not? Right. So again, I'm like in high school, barely out of high school. And he takes pictures of me, and then I see them and I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. I mean, not that I was like, oh, like hell looking at myself like, ooh, but it was fun. Just like the whole process of it was really fun for me. So it kind of just felt like a hobby. So that's how I first got into it. And then he kind of encouraged me like, hey, you should make a model mayhem, so that you can get more experience and like more photographers will hit you up. So I did that. And then, of course, that's what ended up happening. I just started getting paid work. And that's how I really got into modeling. And then I took a break from it for a while. And then I got back into it. It's just one of those things where I was really in and out of, because it was more of a hobby. It wasn't really something I was like looking at as a career. But it was just something that I liked doing. And I felt like I was decently good at it. So, because I was getting contacted a lot and I was getting a lot of paid work, so I was like, why not?
Yeah, it's a very interesting story. This was before Instagram though, right? Because I think
this was when Instagram was like, yeah, it was before Instagram. It was like when Facebook was popping and then Instagram was making its way in.
Yeah, and then Instagram came in big and everything changed. I don't think like all the websites which were specializing in specific imagery, they just can't compete anymore.
Right.
Yeah, because like, now you get all the job through your Instagram. Very cool. But you also mentioned paid work. Like, did it change since then? Like now, and that's something we talked about with Lai as well. It's very difficult to get paid job.
Oh, yeah. It's so different now.
In modeling, yeah.
It's so different now. Like you have to upfront be like, hey, like what's like the details on this, Because I feel like nowadays everyone's kind of like trade for trade, where it's like, oh, I give you
TFP.
Yeah, it's kind of like I give you work, you give me work back. And it's like, which that's nice, but it can't be that all the time. You know what I mean? Especially if this is what you're doing a lot. And there are artists that without even having to like mention anything that will just pay, So like I get caught up in both worlds where there's some that's paid and some that's not paid. It's just kind of like, you just have to know, and you don't have to say yes to everything that you don't want to do.
So do you have any criteria for like doing things for free now? Like, say, of course, everyone wants to get paid, but if, and then there is some list of things you want the photographer to possess, then I would consider like working for them. So, for example, somebody who shoots like celebrities, right? And because they have following through celebrities, that your images
you have
will
that
be
like potential exposure, to
like
more work
next to J-Lo, for example, and
Right.
so on. Like so, that's kind of a case where you would consider to maybe even paying for.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to really like, it's kind of like playing chess. You just have to know your moves, right? And everything just has to make sense.
Yes.
Don't do this just because this guy like, hey, you want to shoot? It's like, and then you look at their profile. It's like, okay, well, you just do the same thing with the same models, which is like nothing wrong with it. If that's actually what you want, what you're looking for your own personal use, why not, right? But if like, for me, the work that I take is, oh, this would be really good for like the content that I need for like the demo that I'm going for. You get what I'm saying? So it has to make sense for like what face you're trying to put out there. I don't know. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, and you mentioned you do of course you do evaluate the photographer's profile first.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you evaluate that, and then and then it's not one of those things where it's like, what can you get out of it? I mean, in a sense, yes, where it's like, because it's business at the end of the day, right? But you have to make sure it's like one of those things where you both are looking for the same thing with each other, right? Just like for any kind of deal that you're doing with anyone, right? It's like, hey, I want this for this, you want this for that, right? We're not about using people, you know what I mean? But But yeah, so you just gotta know what you need and what you want, and if it's something that you want and they don't need, be respectful and pay, and but if it's a mutual thing, then great,
Yeah, makes sense. So while you can come up with win-win situations. Yeah, even if it's like somebody's looking for money, that's also a win
Right.
for them.
And sometimes, like, I get paid when I when I think it's like a win-win situations, those are great, where I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to work with this person because, this is going to help me in this and this and that. But then they come and surprise me and they'll be like, here's for your work. And I'm like, oh, cool. Oh, that's a nice surprise. Sometimes I don't expect either. Right. Like, it's like, and there's moments where I'll just come through and be like, hey, I just want to do it, just to have fun. It's all like every situation is different, honestly.
To your earlier question, well, to my earlier question, but to your earlier answer, the reason why things changed so first because of Instagram now, there is this whole industry is so saturated
Yeah. Oh
by
my God.
both
Photographers
and models. Yes, because for photography, all you need to do is basically get a used camera and maybe watch 3 or 4 YouTube videos.
Yep.
And you're a photographer, right? And for a model, that's also changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like back in the day, being a model meant a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to be perfect, you have to be super thin, you have to, figure out how to.
Now you can be anybody.
Now you can be anybody.
Which there's
right?
nothing wrong with that. I actually love that, and I love that the world is becoming more confident. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with that.
You mean confident or comfortable with themselves?
Yeah, I know what you're saying when you say that. I
Yeah.
think
So
both. Confident and comfortable.
Yeah, both processes are happening
At the same time, like you said, the eye of the beholder, right? So the beauty is the eye of the beholder. But like you said, is it you becoming comfortable or confident? But I don't want to put like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want the world to have a stereotype of what is a model or what is like beautiful, right? Because anyone can think, let's say, look how I look, right? One person can think like I'm gorgeous, pretty, beautiful. And the next person down the street could be like, she's kind of like this and this and that, because it's just not what he likes. You get what I'm saying? And so that's why. So what's the real term of models though? Like is what we got to figure out, because are we putting women that we just admire and that are in different shapes of forms and calling them models, or are we sticking to a certain stereotype of what a models are to hold up as a job? So that's kind of something we got to figure out.
Yeah, and I think that's something actually I can do as a podcast host, but also anybody who worked in the modeling industry can speak from the height of their experience. Like initially, models were just walking mannequins.
Right.
You see, and I talked about this in the previous podcast, so I won't go into details. But back in the 18th century in France, a very very bougie and very rich clothing manufacturer hired his wife to stand in the window instead of on the mannequin.
Right.
This is where it all started. You see, so essentially, models were just the fillers for the clothing. So the clothing that doesn't look empty, doesn't just hang on the hanger. You see, so this is where it came from. And now I think the perception of a model is is an object of admiration.
Right. And that's what I was getting at, is like the definition of being a model was different back then. It was like there was a certain standard you had to be tall, you had to be skinny, you had to be this and that. Like you said, to be a filler in clothes. And now it's a model is any shape or form of admiration, right?
Yeah.
Which I think both is not bad.
No. It's evolution.
Evolution, right?
Evolution of perceptions, and a lot of the influence is coming from social media, Instagram specifically, where now you don't need any specific website like Model Mayhem, as I mentioned.
Oh my goodness, right?
Yeah, you can just post your own stuff and see your following growing, right. Increasing. And this is basically kind of an equivalent of admiration, but also it can be very fake. And social media is primarily, I would say, it's not a very genuine way of judging, understanding, benchmarking. Very cool. Yeah. So talk a bit more about because you also complement modeling with the makeup artistry, which is a relevant skill, but it's helpful if you're a model to also understand how makeup happens, because you, in this case, you are simplifying the work for whoever does makeup on you.
Right.
It also gives you much more flexibility because you can do makeup on yourself,
Right.
if there is a photo shoot, right? And the other way around, to say if you have to work on models, you can also give them some tips. Hey, so extend this way, this angle. Don't put your nose out too much, and so on.
Right.
Don't spend more than $230 on your nails, for example. Right? Yeah. So, did you go into makeup artistry just naturally because you got interested in this, or were you trying to?
It was one of those things where I was trying to figure out myself, and I just knew no matter what I was doing, what I was going to do, I was going to be in the creative world. Just for the simple fact that the first thing I did was modeling, and then the next thing I just tried out was makeup. I knew I was going to do something creative. I just couldn't figure out what it was. And so I went to cosmetology school, specifically to be an esthetician. So, I was also learning how to be a makeup artist as well while doing that. And I did that because I was like, well, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. Maybe I'll be good at something that's creative, right? So I tried out makeup. And I am good at makeup on myself. I think I'm decent on other people, but I also realized that wasn't something I 100% love to do. But it was getting closer, right? I was getting closer and closer to figuring out who I am, right? I just knew it was something creative. I just couldn't figure out what it was. But I do love doing makeup, right? But it's not my 100% passion.
So would you say that you developed less passion over time doing makeup, or was it something that you wanted to do for yourself first?
It was something I think, now that I think about it, it was something I wanted to do for myself first. And then I tried it out on other people. And it was just one of those things where I was trying to have a niche for it. And if I was going to do makeup, I just wanted to be 100% better than I was, which I don't think I was bad at it. I still think I was fairly decent. But I'm really, really, I'm really hard on myself, and I critique myself. I'm like my hardest critic. So I just knew whatever I was going to do, I was going to do better, right? And I was like, I don't think this is it. But I'm open to do makeup still. I'll still do it. Anyone that wants me to do makeup on them, hey, hit me up.
How does Stanford? What does Stanford think about you having all those skills, which are not really relevant?
Oh, they seem like they love it.
Yeah.
They love it. Because I think, just for them, when they hear about my stories, my coworkers, it's kind of like a break from everything else that they hear, because it's just, I can understand, right? You talk about healthcare over and over and over again. It's like, oh, that's something different. It's exciting, right? So yeah, they're not ever judgmental on me being a little different. They actually really are supportive and encourage it. Every position that I've worked for at Stanford and the Children's Hospital, they were all very supportive. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. And I guess what I'm trying to go with this is, all those skills make you this unique person.
Oh, thank you.
In the healthcare, and therefore, it gives you this unique character. So compared to, say, everybody else who does healthcare, and they may be coming from other backgrounds, this gives you this chance to stand out and create maybe your own circle there. And attracts people of specific interests. While, say, earlier, I think the society wasn't ready for that. I think that what is happening now is that the world becomes more comfortable and more tolerant to diverse backgrounds,
which is awesome, because I
that's
think
amazing.
I think if I was younger, there was a chance that maybe it's like, oh, she's too distracted.
yes, this was my point. Like, say, is she a makeup artist or is she a healthcare professional? You see,
Right.
the questions that would be asked before considering to hire you, right?
Right.
And now, like, you talk about your healthcare admirations, and then everything else comes on top of it and makes you even better, I would say, specialist.
I think what changed is that mental health became more heightened. So now it's not, I think, like having like your side hobbies and just things that make you happy is not so frowned upon as it was before. So that's why I think that people are more accepting of it now, as it was before. Because before it was all about, you need to be a diehard lawyer. You can absolutely not love surfing because it doesn't make sense, right? But
for a lawyer, it's also it just increases the chance of you dying sooner, right?
I don't know why I picked those two, but yeah, just for an example, right? But with everything that we've as a world have been going through, like mental health care has really became something that's been like a concern, so I think the world is trying to do better by coming together, when it comes to mental health care. And I see it, and that's actually making me happy when it comes down to humanity, because I'm a big advocate of love and just humanity doing better as a whole.
Oh, that's beautiful. This reminds me of the hippie movement also standing for love.
Well,
right?
People tell me I am a bit spiritual, so yeah.
Yeah, but spiritual might mean lots of different things.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You see, but like believing that love is the ultimate spirit.
Of course,
is a choice.
I'm a big advocate of love. I don't know if you listen to any of my songs, but I can't write about
love.
Yeah, it's all about love. I can't write about anything else for some reason.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and I think it's also a good segue. Yeah, let's talk a bit more about how your modeling helps you actually be more creative. So, with modeling, we have the so-called high fashion or runway, right? So this is like fashion weeks, like wearing all this maybe a bit grotesque, a bit like very unpractical things, but they are there to attract attention and to kind of make a statement. There is the commercial modeling, which is more about like paid photo shoots for like magazines or for specific like advertisement. And now we have music videos where again girls who are actually, like, if we look at this from the point of view of like movie production, they would be the background actresses, right? The background stuff, but they are called models there. You see, and their purpose is to create specific kind of entourage or environment for whoever is the main character of the music video. So, in your experience, how this activity modeling different from either runway or commercial shoots?
So, I feel like when you're doing photo shoots or when you're it's all so different. All of it is so different. When you're taking photos, it's all about like you have to get the right shot, the right angle, right? You're really focused on that, and you're kind of just like, you have to be really in tune with how you're looking, right? Like for exactly knowing what the photographer is looking for. When it comes to modeling in a music video, there's a bit of acting, right? And it really just depends on the genre of the music that you're modeling in the music video. Because when you do hip hop, they're gonna want something, more urban, right? Is a way of saying it. And then when you do
something that moves up and down close to the ground.
Yeah, obviously you have to know how to dance, right? And then when you do things that are more like storytelling, then that's when acting comes more in. So either you have to have like a skill of dancing, one, when it comes to like, hip hop, rap. And then when you do more like pop or EDM, I think that's when acting comes in more. Or even just doing, what's the word? Like go-go dancing, right? When it comes to like EDM, you have to know go-go dancing. I think that's what I think that they would use.
What is acting? Like watch an Indian music video.
Oh yeah.
That's
oh my
where
goodness.
there's
Yeah.
so much acting going on.
it's like a soap opera.
Yeah, it's like whole movie there, in 3 minutes for you.
Yeah. So I just think like more you have to be it's different. It really just depends on what the artist wants, right? I can't even really pinpoint what you do differently in a music video versus like a photo shoot. It's I even think photo shoots is going to be always different too. It depends on the vibe that they're going through, the whole set. Because you could do horror shoots, or you can do, and then music videos you can do like love scenes. It's all different regardless if it's a music video or a photo shoot. Even runway, you can do high fashion, and then you can even do things that are like weird, where they have people just dressed in sandwiches and just like walking down the road. I've seen that,
Yeah, people dressed as upside down mannequins.
There you go.
Like with those
So
fake legs.
So like I was gonna answer your question. I was trying to figure out how to answer your question, but now that I think about it, it's all different. All of it is different. I can't even say like one's gonna be, photo shoot's gonna be like this and music video's gonna be like that. It's all gonna be different. But one is just motion picture, and then one is just still photos, and then one is just you are like a walking mannequin, like as you said before. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to be a fast walking, or sometimes you have to be slow walking.
Right.
Yeah, depending on which genre you're at.
Depending on the project.
Very cool. Yeah. Okay. Let's do a segue to the music. And I know it's a big thing for you. Like if you can share your music video with me, I can maybe put like 5 seconds.
Okay.
At this moment to kind of give people an idea of what your genre is and what they do. So I've listened to and I've watched as I was driving here.
Okay. Which one did you listen to?
2 of them. They were all about love. Yes.
Yep.
Let me go back to YouTube and tell you the actual names of it.
Because I have 3 out. There was one that I just came out with on Valentine's Day, and then there was one that I came out with 5 years ago, and then there was one I came out with in November. Oh, so you probably watched Ethereal Love.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know, maybe Intentions. Was it like music videos, or was it one like a still picture?
Both were music videos.
Okay, so you watched My Love, which was my very first single, and then you watched my single that was released in November.
Very cool. Yes. So first thing is, it's a interesting genre. It's a kind of like a fusion of maybe 2 or 3, and I'll talk about specifics there. But also the production quality is very high. As well as the video quality, so you definitely got some good production team helping you with shooting all that.
I will say I'm pretty selective with who I work with, because I feel like with my music and like how I feel, I have a certain vision. So then the people that I pick is like particular, because I've worked with other people where it was like, oh, I just want to work with someone. And then I'm just like, I'm not happy with how it sounds, how I feel. The chemistry's not there with me and the people that I've worked with or whatever. But, I could say like as of lately, like the people that I've picked now, and that doesn't, I'm not counting the first one that you listened to that I made years ago, that team was great. That's, they were great too. But I'm saying everyone in between, it was just kind of like, so.
What made you not work with the same people?
With the same people? Yeah. Oh, so actually, the person that produced the first song, he's all the way in New Jersey. So that's why, but he's great. He's actually the one that taught me a lot. He taught me a lot about like recording music, because I was really new at it. I didn't have any experience. His name's RG. He's really good. And then the person that shot the music video was Drexley, which he was the one that's done a lot of other modeling videos with me. So I've continued to work with Drex. So they those 2 were great. And then, I moved on, and not moved on, but I went and worked with other people. And the one that you're talking about, Ethereal Love, is like an EDM song. So, I'm going to look for a different producer. I'm going to look for a different videographer, like for the vision that I want, right? So the videographer for Ethereal Love, I actually flew out from Virginia.
Nice.
Because I really liked his work. And with the sound that I had with that song, and I was like, this is who I need. Like, I need him. Like, I ran into his page. I was like, this is the look I'm looking for. I was like, I know I could have picked anyone else like in Cali, but I was like, I want him. And like, when I reached out to him, he was just like, oh, just like, I'm so honored, and he was down. He listened to my song and he was like, I need you too. So it worked out.
Yeah, that's a very, very good story to tell. If you're good at what you do, then people will be willing to fly you out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to work with local, and especially now with the social media and Instagram, put it out there, and like you just don't know who is going to reach out to you.
By the way, his name is Bryce, the videographer, and then the guy that did my my engineering for Ethereal Love was Lenny Ruckus. Yeah, so those two were great.
Yeah. So yeah, that video was more of EDM, kind of, Armin van Buuren. This is what the vibe it gave me. So when you come up with the music, when you come up with lyrics, when you come up with the ideas, like how do you, where do you get the vision? Like do you have the idea of what you want to do, and then the details come in, or is it the other way around?
So before I actually got into recording music, I like to write a lot. So, and the reason how I got into writing is that I would go through a lot of things, and I'm an overthinker to the point where it would really just run through my mind so much that I felt like I had to write everything down that I'm going through, to kind of help, I guess, cope, right, with the things I'm going through. So I would write everything down, and I kept them in my notes. And when I was recording for the first time, I didn't know how to write to a song. So what I did is I just took my old writings and I would kind of just push them all together, and I made a song. So that was like kind of like with my first song, right? Because I don't know if you can tell, but I went through stuff with love.
But I think all of us, this is what it's the nature of love, right?
So like I wrote a lot, right? So I put that in a song. And then after that, then I would practice maybe I'll pre-write and then I'll put it in a song. And I would just, in the beginning, it was kind of difficult. It would just be like, whatever's just occupying my mind the most, because that's how I started. It's just whatever was in my thought, I would just write it down and then I'd turn it into a song. That's kind of like my process. And then I kind of stepped into my side of like healing, where people heal with praying, or people heal with like, I'm getting like a spiritual cleanse, right? So, you do what you got to do, right? And so, and I've learned from the person that helped me kind of get right, kind of helped me just cleanse myself. She said, if you ever need help writing your music, call in the goddess of Hawthorne. So she's an Egyptian goddess. She's the goddess of love, music, and just and just being feminine, right? So, and dance also. So, I would kind of like tune into my goddess of Hawthorne, and she's kind of who helped me write Intentions, which is the song that I recently came out with on Valentine's Day. So I kind of would just get in tune with my emotions, get really in tuned, and that really helped. And just kind of like, before it would be about what's on my mind, but now it's like really getting in tuned about how you feel, and not feeling bad, or not feeling just judged by how you feel when you're writing your music. You got to write like no one's going to actually listen to you. Write like no one's going to listen. Write like there's like you're writing just to yourself, and then you can alter it when, you actually start recording the song. That's kind of my process. Yeah.
Okay. How did you meet this goddess of
it's one of those things where it's like, how you pray, right? People will pray to God, right? And again, I'm not religious, really. So I think for me, it's more of like meditation. I think I was like meditating, and it's just being more and just being open and accepting. Yes. So that's kind of my way of, I guess you could say, like channeling or getting in tuned. For me, it's all about being in tuned, getting in tuned of your emotions and just other people's emotions and just all the energies around you, and like it just and be accepting and open, and then you feel everything, and then that's just how everything comes naturally in you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Meditation has proven clinical effect.
Yeah.
And it's a way to cope with stress as well.
Oh yeah.
You see, so as you do that, as you practice that, it also takes some muscle to do properly, because the brain is designed by evolution to not waste time, right? To like be in the constant search of things.
Yeah, and I really want to emphasize how important it is to take care of your mind and your spirit, just as important as it is to take care of your body. And I know I'm not the best at all three, but I am aware of how important it is. Because if you can't get that mind right and you can't get that spirit right, everything else is just not going to follow. It's all important.
That's an advice from a medical professional, guys. Take it with a grain of salt. Getting back to the music. So you use meditation to connect to your feelings, or you come up with more details as you meditate?
So there's no formula to like all of this, right? And I've been told that before. There's no formula to all this. So I really, really take that in. It's what feels right at the moment. It's just how I do everything. Some days I pre-write my music and then I go into the studio. Some days I go into the studio and I write as the beat is being made. Some days I channel in my emotions and then just really like feel it, and then like, it's always different. And I don't want to say there's any right or wrong way of doing it. I feel like there's no right or wrong answer, because it's all to your own style, and it's all to your own emotions, it's all to your own creativity and to your own progress of just making music, right? But for me, I'm very emotionally in tuned. I think I'm more emotionally in tuned than I should be, because like I need to be more logical sometimes.
Do you make decisions based on your emotions?
Oh my God, all the time.
Did it ever lead you to like things you regret?
Yeah. And then like I'm getting better at like, okay, Ash, you feel like this right now, but that might not be the best thing to do, and I'm just a very, very passionate person. I'm very passionate. I'm very emotional. I'm going to consider myself highly intuitive, only because, before I'll be like, I think I'm highly intuitive, but no, I know I am, because I can feel the room. I can feel people's emotions before they even tell me, and sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, but yeah, sometimes I lead with my my emotions more than I'd like. Yeah.
This is not uncommon. And like, honestly, I think this makes life more interesting. Like if you only take the decisions, use logic, it's probably very boring outcomes, you see?
Yeah. I bet you they're really successful though. I bet you they're doing things in life right now though.
Well, you can be successful and still be emotional, right?
I know. I think I'm just being hard on myself.
But like because I had to go through this journey where, and it's a journey. Like it's never ending. But what they teach you in the acting school is to connect to your emotional side first.
Oh, and you're in acting. Yeah. I can just, I had to do acting today, and I didn't even know I was going to act. Well, I had an idea, but I didn't realize it was like actual acting.
Okay.
And with just getting a little bit of like that taste, I'm like, wow, I can just imagine what people that really act have to go through, because I had to play as a patient, that just very difficult. I can't go into details, but just having to pretend to be someone, that's kind of like more unhappy, and to do that for like hours.
It's like a training in
and it's
effort.
like, and you have to tune into those emotions unwillingly, or like willingly, right? And it kind of gets to you,
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that it could, because like in the middle of it, I'm like, wow. I start thinking to myself, like, what if this is actually me one day? You know what I mean? Like you start feeling like those real emotions. And I thought to myself, like, this is what actors go through, and that must be really hard.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Depending on the on the
Role.
yeah, of course, and depending on the role, but also depending on the there are and I've talked about this many times as well. But there are several like kind of acting best practices and acting schools in the world, and one of them is called so-called like method acting, is when you immerse yourself in the actual environment of your character.
Oh wow.
You see, DiCaprio is known for being a method actor, like for his Revenant, right? His movie when he had to live in the forests. He was living in this forest for 9 months, sleeping on the ground, on the cold ground. He got like pneumonia multiple times there.
Oh my gosh.
Just to feel the proper things.
Wow.
You see, so if you are on that level, it can get dangerous. So
I'm sure.
there were cases where method actors kind of lose their sense of identity because they get immersed for so long into somebody else's life, so they don't know who they really are.
It's like real trauma. Even though it's like pretend, they actually live that trauma.
You can, but there are also schools where you don't have to go that extreme, and having emotional baggage is actually helpful. Like, everyone thinks like emotional baggage is just, it seems like it's something which you need to go away from and just, embrace new things and be happy about your life. But being able to tap into this emotional baggage and find the proper memory and proper emotion from your past to feel that very same emotion at the moment where you need to feel this emotion is helpful. You see? And like what we are being taught is you can, if it's your actual memory and your actual emotion, you can go as far and as deep in it safely because it will not get worse than it actually was done. And you survive that, and that's why it's safe.
And it could be healing in a sense too, right? Like you're kind of like addressing your feelings in the past and kind of like coming to a closure, don't you think?
There is a component of psychotherapy there for sure. Like if you go to, I don't know, like a lot of modern women, they praise psychotherapy. Right. And it's also a useful kind of practice to go over what you feel and see what can be done about this, and if anything needs to be done. Have you taken any psychotherapy?
I have not.
To give you like a short summary of what happens, they educate you about how emotions work.
Okay.
And why are you going to feel specific things, and for how long. So, for example, if it's like trauma caused from like losing a loved one, somebody who you were close with, and suddenly they're gone for maybe they died, or it was a breakup, right? You can feel this sense of loss, which is basically a neurochemistry for some time, and it depends on how strong the attachment was. It can be up to like 6 months. You see, but it usually comes in waves, and you feel really bad for a bit, and then the wave kind of goes down until the next one comes in. And each next wave is kind of like, it is supposed to be not as strong as the previous one. You see?
Speaking of loved one, like what you were just mentioning, remember how I said I wanted to get into like my lyrics? Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the meaning behind the lyrics.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
it's all yours.
So like I came out with that EDM song that you came with. That you listened to. So when you listen to it, I just want to hear from you. What did you get from the lyrics when you listened to it?
How about we listen to it together again? Can you put it on?
Oh, yeah.
The production quality is very high, so it's like it gives me strong Armin van Buuren vibes, and because of that, your voice is clearly an instrument here. So even though the lyric is there, it doesn't really jump on you as much as, say, if it was, say, like a hip hop
Right.
song, which is primarily about
Which
lyrics.
is,
You see?
I see that valid. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
valid. I guess the reason why I picked like EDM is because I didn't want people to be so depressed over it, with the message that I had behind it.
Do you think it's a sad message though? So you say that you came here to love, and
So-
then you talk about your feelings about.
So when you like listen to kind of like I call it like the bridge, but I know there's another term for it when it comes to EDM. Forgive me for not knowing or not remembering. I do know. Lenny told me. I just forgot. So I say in my heart, I feel the voice that saved the lives, but not their own. We all need an angel's love, but angels can't do it alone. And the reason why I said that is because my brother and Chester, they both, Chester from Lincoln Park, and then including my brother, they both.
Wow.
Yeah. And so like I just went in this rabbit hole with Chester, right? So the day of my studio session with Lenny, I was just watching all these videos of like Chester, and I was thinking about my brother heavy, and I was like, okay, this is what's on my mind. This is what I'm gonna write about going into the studio session. So like, basically it's about them, right? So that's why I said in my heart, I hear the voice that's saved the lives. Chester has saved a lot of lives by singing about his depression, but he couldn't save his own. And then that's why I said we all need an angel's love, because he saved a lot of people, including my brother too. My brother is an awesome, very loving soul. We all need an angel's love, but angels can't do it alone. And I feel like that was just my way of saying, like, remember to be like nice to everyone, even though they're the ones out here saving you. People that are saving you, just remember to be nice to them, because they're out here saving everyone, but just remember that they can't do it alone. They need help too. Everyone needs help, even though like we're out here just being very caring, and just don't assume that the ones that are the most caring are the ones that don't need help.
I think the people who are most caring also need the most to maintain this momentum and energy.
Yeah.
It takes a lot from you to be out there and to sometimes risk your own life.
Yeah.
Like because you are also in healthcare, you see examples of that. Maybe more often than you probably want to.
Right. Yeah.
You see,
sure.
but like sometimes surgeons, they don't sleep.
Yeah.
For
after
like
everything they
36 hours. You see, sometimes the surgery takes as long as it needs to take, and it can go for many hours. Sometimes they don't sleep. So who cares for them?
Right.
Right. Yeah, but like this story, I didn't know this song is about.
I know, and I feel like people miss it because it's such a like party, right? And then also I'm talking about like in the beginning, I'm like, love is the greatest teacher. Right?
Yeah. I think EDM just has this vibe of like partying in general. But if you listen to a lot of, especially like trance, because EDM because you're a music professional, we can talk about this in detail, but EDM just means anything that was composed using software. And in terms of different measurements, there is like BPM, right? And EDM can start, pretty much anywhere, like at a low BPM.
Yeah, or super high.
Yeah, or super high. And say, when we get to something around maybe 100 to 120 to 130, we usually get house. We call the house music within this BPM, and that's EDM, electronic music, right? When we go a bit higher, we get into trance, right? So this is your composition, and then if we go even higher, we can get into there is so much there, like
there's too much subgenres,
hard style, and so on.
Yeah,
Psytrance. So it's all EDM. It's all composed in software, maybe using some real samples of like somebody's voice and so on, or like Daft Punk is known for sampling somebody else's works before and just maybe like reversing them or changing pitch and composing things together, and the whole song is just this collection of samples. You see, but it's technically EDM, right? So if you listen to a lot of this kind of genre, which is like trance-ish, they're very sad songs.
And that's always like, did I go too depressing? But it's like, that's kind of why I wanted to make it a bit uplifting, because I wanted people to still celebrate their lives in a sense, but also just be aware. You know what I mean? So like, love is the greatest teacher, but it's like, it's kind of like a reminder, and I came here to love. So like, so just remember, like, yes, other people are doing it, but like we're on this together as like humanity, right? Like we all have to be a team. We all have to have each other's back. It's like we can't just, some of us just rely on certain people to like be there for us and kind of be our little therapist, if it's a friend or whatever. But we have to remember to be there for them back, and also to do it with good intention, with because you want to do it, not because like, oh, I'm gonna get something back, or because you feel like you'll get respected for helping out, right? Just always have good intention in everything that you do. I have to emphasize that.
I love it. I think there is just a general principle: doing good things and not expecting anything in return.
Not expecting anything in return. You can't do it and be like, oh, I'm doing this because, especially, let's say a friend gave you a ride somewhere, and then you're like, oh, because this person did this for me, I feel obligated to do something back. That's not authentic. You have to do something because you want to do it. And I know it's really hard for people to kind of like differentiate that. Get what I'm saying? And it's hard, right? Because it's like, well, why are we doing it? But you got to do it like out of real love, out of real pureness, right?
You don't need to go against your internal values,
right?
There you go. To return the favor, right?
Right.
But I think the general principle that you mentioned earlier is that if you think about extracting value through your actions from other people, this is not authentic.
Right.
You see, when you want to do something for somebody, expecting nothing in return would give you much better long-term outcome.
Right, because then you also live without all these things in the back of your head, just naturally. If you're thinking about like, oh, is this person like really like there for me? Really, really rethink about what you're really doing, like on your day-to-day basis. If you're constantly questioning who's in your circle and who's in your life, because I used to be that person, and now I will, and it's been a short frame of time, but I will say within that short frame of time, I have progressed in a way where I don't question about who I'm keeping around me, and because I feel like everyone around me like is just, I feel like it's perfect now. I'm happy with the circle that I have. I'm happy with the people in my life. Nothing feels like a question anymore, and it's because I do everything with my own pure attention, and I used to be a people's pleaser to where I would put myself in situations where I would be unhappy because I felt like it was the right thing to do. And then I realized it was actually unauthentic.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I have to figure out what I actually do want to do with my own good intention and what I don't want to do. And there's nothing wrong with me saying no, because at least I'm being true and real.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me a bad person. It just tells me what and who I want in my life, right?
Yeah. In the psychotherapy terms, it's called boundary.
Yeah, boundaries.
Yeah. So one of the things that psychotherapists do is they help you first to discover your boundaries and then how to enforce them.
Right.
But there's this general pattern of behavior it has a lot to do with the definition of either psychopathy or sociopathy. So which is now interchange terms. But basically, there is some sliver of population, maybe like 2-3%, that always are looking to kind of take advantage of others.
Oh, yeah.
You see, so they are psychopaths, and the way to make sure that you're not dealing with a psychopath is to see if they're willing to do things
Without anything in return.
without any like second intention, without
Right.
expecting anything in return.
Right.
So charities would be this kind of like magnet for people who are not psychopaths. You see, because psychopaths would not be able to keep charitable activity for long, because
Right.
at some point they will look, what's in this for me?
What am I getting? Yeah.
What
What
am
am
I
I getting
getting
out of
out of
this? Yeah.
Yes. So there is nothing wrong with doing business,
Right.
right? So because business is designed to be for profit. Hey, I'm a specialist in specific things. I do things well. How about I deserve to be paid for this? Okay, but outside of business, doing charitable things, doing things without any expectation of return for that will just give you so much more and even help
Right.
your business to grow. So that's one of the reasons why I do content, and I just see that it helps my guests and it helps me, to grow. And I don't really.
Yeah. I was going to
expect
say, if
much,
I was in your seat, I would look at it as like, well, I'm gaining knowledge, right? Because you don't know what you can learn from who you
of
talk
course,
to.
yeah. It's also an activity that keeps you I would say keeps you open minded, because every guest is different.
Someone called me a homeless lover.
Why homeless?
A homeless lover because like sometimes when I shouldn't even like put a name on the people I talk to, but like sometimes there'll be I don't know what else to like say, like homeless person like sitting like there, and I'll just go up and I'll just start talking to them, and then like I'll give them hugs and like like I'll really connect with them, and most of the time I'm kind of drunk. It's the times we're at the clubs.
Do you
and,
think it's alcohol kind of enables this behavior?
I don't know if it
incentivizes,
enables. It's more of, I feel just more like friendly, where I'm like, hey, I want to talk. I feel like in a talk, it wouldn't. I mean, I don't specifically look for homeless people. It's more of the person that's coming across my way. I'm like, hey, how's your day? And so like he called me a homeless lover, and he's like, yeah, every time I see you like hugging a bum, like I've been called that from like my friends and just multiple people. And it's I've gotten in trouble actually before, because I used to work at a bar as a bartender, and I actually brought one inside, and I was like, I'm buying her a shot, it's her birthday. And I got in trouble for doing that. Because like, one of my coworkers was like, hey, you're not supposed to bring them in here. And I'm like, sorry, it's her birthday though.
You could have brought her a shot outside, right?
No, because you can't bring glasses outside.
Don't do glasses, do like paper cup.
Oh yeah, that's true. But the whole point of saying that is just like, you just don't know what you're gonna learn, from anyone, right? And that's why I talk to everybody, because I feel like I can gain knowledge from literally anyone. I can gain knowledge from someone that's like a millionaire, and I can gain knowledge from someone that's just on the street. I don't look at people as like, oh, he has money, I have to talk to him. I mean, I will say that like when I go to events and then I feel like I want to work with people like music and stuff, I'm like, hey, I'm going to network. I do that. I'm not going to sit here and be all innocent, right? But yeah, I guess when I'm drunk, I like to just talk to random strangers.
I just imagined a scenario where you can learn from a millionaire and from a homeless person on the same street. One is the drug, the other one knows where to buy. Yeah. Cool.
It's too funny.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't know why I got into that. That was just like a random thing.
No. That's relevant to why you do music, and relevant to how you come up with the ideas.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm kind of crazy.
You live life through your emotions.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And like evolutionary, we are different. Men are designed to solve problems. That's why there is much more proclivity towards logical thinking. You see, while women are designed to quickly understand what the situation is without even needing words for that. So essentially, if the baby is crying, like women will understand what's up with the baby. Is it like diaper? Is it like hungry, cold, fever, or anything? Right?
Yeah, it's the way the baby cries.
Yeah, like try seeing a man doing that. You see, they will like, well, where's the book? What's going on? Let me Google up.
Where's the
You see,
instructions?
you see, just incapable. Incapable. Like
Yeah.
it's so difficult to for guys to become parents because they have to get like all this education.
Yeah, they're like, where's the manual on the child?
They don't have this emotional antenna, to communicate to somebody who doesn't know how to say words.
Right.
You see, so that's why evolutionary we are different. And unfortunately, this super ability to communicate with other human beings without words comes with side effects, the ones you are describing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there isn't much that can be changed about that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm accepting of it.
Yeah. Very cool. We'll kind of get into the closure
Okay.
because we've been in the studio for almost 3 hours now.
Is it? My goodness. Got a lot to say.
Tell us about what's next for you. So seems like you are settling down with or going back to your older inspiration for and passion for healthcare, right? So that probably will give you this platform to maintain yourself and to build this very important social circle of like this safety net. So if something happens to you, then there is always somebody who can support you, right? But your urge to express yourself emotionally is now being satisfied by your music,
Yeah.
by your music. So is it something which you're going to kind of continue developing together, or do you see yourself becoming a musician full time?
See, now being a musician is something I love to do. And when I first got into this, or first got back into it, I didn't have any expectations. And again, I don't have any expectations. I'm kind of I got back into it saying like, I just want to be in the studio. I just want to record. Like, I just want to express. I just want to do my thing, right? But then things just started happening. And I'm like, okay, why not? Let's just roll with it, And I'm going to have that same mentality. I just naturally am just driven, and I like to go hard, and I like to push. And it's not like I don't have a plan, because I tend to plan things out, but I also don't hold certain expectations to where I'm going to be left with disappointments, because I'm just having fun. I'm honestly just having fun with everything, and whatever happens. If I stop where I'm at, I'm happy with it, because I know I made certain people happy with my music, and a lot of people enjoyed my performances, and I know I've helped some people through my music too, and that's already rewarding enough. And if I end up doing more, then great, but I'm not expecting or looking for anything out of it. I just want to be me, and I just want to create, and I just want to do what I love and be happy. And if I can help people be happy and help people find their true authentic self, then I'm all here for it. When it comes to the healthcare industry, again, something I didn't expect I would like either, or that I would be good at. I think it's a career that I could do well in. It seems to be going well for me, because I keep going back. They keep taking me back. So yeah, again, no expectations. Whatever the path takes me to, it's just, this is my ride, and nice. I'm just gonna do what I gotta do.
Yeah, living life with an open mind and open eyes. Amazing. Yeah, on that topic, do you plan on going on a tour at some point?
I want to. Yeah. That sounds fun, right?
Yeah.
Anyone want to manage me on that? Then that, I mean, that's one thing I got to just research more if I'm going to do that. I need more knowledge on it before I even dive into something that, that big. I just want to do it the right way.
Yeah. In total, how many tracks you have? Is it enough for an album?
So I like, so I got back into music, I want to say
Last year.
less than a year
Yeah.
ago. And so I have 3 tracks out. I have done features with other artists, but my goal is to put more music out. A friend did tell me that's probably the only thing I'm missing right now is just more music. So I think that's what I need to work on is getting more music out. And then I think once I do that, then I can really push more on the envelope.
At this point, definitely just keep doing it until you start getting reach outs from somebody who wants to help you with taking this on the financial platform.
Right.
Yeah. Going on tours will also help to kind of boost your
That sounds fun.
your access. Everybody who does this though do this through an agency.
Yeah.
Who like books all the buses, hotels for them. You don't want to do it yourself. Well, unless you don't have any other.
You have
job,
the
I
money
guess,
for
yeah.
it, right? Or the access, right?
Yeah, you can maybe hire a virtual assistant and let them to do all the management. So yeah, there are ways, and I think it's all exciting from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I hope. I mean, I'm excited regardless of what happens. I'm here for the ride. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think so far you're doing really interesting things.
Thank you.
And I like that it's fusion. So like the track we heard today is definitely more EDM. You also have like maybe like more towards like trap hip hop-ish kind of.
Yeah. I have like a pop song, like a pop R&B song. I've even tried out Afrobeat.
Afrobeat. It's popular now, like Tyler, right?
Yeah. So I tried that out. It's not done yet. I'm a feature though, so I have to wait for that to be finished. I'm just trying out different genres just to see where I fit in, like why not? And you learn when you dive into all these different things. So you can always bring it to your next project.
Yeah. I think social media also allows you to experiment a lot. And you can use maybe Spotify or other like musical platforms, but also Instagram, right? And just do a bunch of different genres and see which reels are going better and, on you. And you can do a lot. Like imagine like 50 years ago, we had none of it. And the only people who knew what was going to work would be those like owners of the managers and the owners of the production companies. And you have to go to them to get any idea of where you are.
Okay.
So it was very difficult to actually get started. Like now you have
all these platforms and
you have all the tools now.
But that's the thing. It's too easy now. Like because it's so easy that like it's really
competition is there for sure.
Yeah, the competition's there. So I guess it's easy but not easy. But it's just I kind of wish it was more of like footwork hard versus now it's like, oh, I have to really put myself out there like social media, I would prefer the footwork.
No, I mean, the social media is the footwork now.
Yeah.
And there is lots of...
but it's all about getting the algorithm and just like getting the right, like, just like the right amount of views and all that. So I gotta research more on that too. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to that stuff, but I'm trying.
There are companies who specialize in putting content out there for you. And people who are able to get to like D-list celebrities, they pay up to, well, maybe, I know someone who pays $30,000 per month.
Oh, wow.
To a company that puts the content out there for them.
That's crazy. That's a lot
and
of
that's
money.
That's not the highest price. I know of someone who spends $100,000 per month collectively across Instagram and YouTube and everything else.
That's a lot.
You see? Now, when those channels bring you much more money,
That's true.
you are willing to pay this, right? So it's basically this margin, right? It is, in terms of absolute numbers, it feels like it's a lot, but in terms of relative numbers, like what's the margin? If your Instagram if your Instagram gives you $1 million per month, you are going to spend 10% of it, right? On making sure that your face is pretty much on everybody's phone, right? So when you start, I know the reason why I mentioned Tyler is because, well, I think she's Afrobeat, right? Because she's from South
Is she
Africa.
the one that goes, make me wanna?
Yeah, this one. This one is not really like Afrobeatish kind of. It's more like very pop, but she has her
It
own.
has that Afrobeat.
Yes, she has her own influence because, like now she's she's up and coming, right? So
Yeah.
she's like in millions of of following. But 3 months ago, she wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
She came up with the song, and people barely knew her. So
Oh, really?
yeah. So just
wow.
watching her progressing, you can see how it happens.
Yeah.
You just keep doing things
It's that
until one, shoots
until
up.
one pops,
Yes.
one pops off. Well, I better get to work then.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if Tyler wants to come to my podcast next time, all the way from South Africa, or I don't know, maybe she's in New York now.
Oh, is she in New York now?
because of all this work. But at least I got you guys Ashley Abbott today. So follow her.
Yeah.
What's the best way to find you, by the way?
aa.abbott. So aa.abbott. That's my Instagram. And I'm pretty much just on Instagram. But if you want to book me for anything, ashleyabbott.booking at gmail.com.
Yeah, if you are this old school manager and who wants to work with new talent, then
Which I'm open for that.
Yeah, DM works, but also old school emails also work still.
Old school Gmail.
Yeah, cool. Anything, anywhere you're going to be do you have any kind of concerts yet, or are you thinking about this?
I can't announce anything yet because it's one of those things where I'm like, I want to wait for contracts to be signed. But yeah, just keep an eye out for announcements about summer shows, and which is in a few months. But again, I can't make any announcements until it's fully went through. But keep an eye out because it's going to be in soon, in contract. I would say a couple of shows.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Do you sing in the shower?
To sing in the shower, yeah.
Yeah,
Those are my shows. No, I'm kidding.
If you're in the shower and you hear somebody singing behind
It's
the
me-
wall,
it's me
then
creeping.
you
It's
are
me creeping.
you are her neighbor. This was Sublime Podcast for you guys. Let's see you next episode.
Thanks
Bye.
for having me.